What's going on today, guys? It's Matt again with the JAKL 308 from Palmetto State Armory. We're going to go over a couple things today. We're going to talk about the features, the pros and cons I found while testing it, who I think this actual rifle's for. We're going to go over some accuracy. We tested it all the way out to 540 yards. And then at the end, I'm going to go over and tell you if I'd buy it again, knowing what I know now. All right, let's talk about features. I'm going to talk about the features that come with every one of these JAKL 308s, and then I'll tell you the model-specific ones that I have. So, it's a 308 platform. This one's set up in a 14.5-inch barrel. It's got an adjustable gas system, long stroke piston system, just like an AK. You're going to have a folding stock on both of them. Different stock types, though, so you can get different ones. I went with the B&T one. We'll talk about that later in detail. As it sits right now, this is an aftermarket grip, but it does come with a mag pull grip. It comes with a what they call a performance trigger. We'll talk about that. The safety and the bolt catch are only on the left side, so they're not ambidextrous, so I don't really like that. This one came with a pin and welded chemo adapter for my suppressors. It's got a fixed, I'll just spin it around. This is a non-articulating charging handle, so that's pretty nice. And it is able to be switched to either side depending on the shooter. And I think that's it for the basics of it. So what I have here, as we tested it, I ran it with my Vortex 5-25 PST Gen 2 for our longer stuff, which I'll show you later. I also tested it with an EOTech and a LVPO 1-6 Vortex as well. So we'll show you all those as we go along, just to see what role fit best for this rifle. So we've tested it out in multiple configurations. We're well over 300 rounds on it now. A little bit better than the first review. The first review is more of a tabletop look. This is going to be an actual breakdown. So next I kind of want to talk about the pros and cons that I found throughout doing this whole project, right? So I tested it with a suppressor, without a suppressor, adjusted the gas block, did all that good stuff. So I've got as much data as my wallet can afford when it comes to 308. Our test ammo was always 168 grain federal gold medal match. It's what I shoot in my bolt guns. It works, it's great, so I ran it. Some of the pros. It's well built from here to here. It is solid. It is good quality. I like the fit and finish. It does feel like a well thought out system. I love the monolithic rail, so I can run my scopes and my optics anywhere along there. I like the color. The color's great. I guess I'll switch over to some of the cons now because I have a bunch of cons actually. I'm not in love with this stock. I'll put some footage in here about what it does and why it's more of a hindrance than a help. So when testing it in a longer range situation, this rifle got real heavy. It got very, very hard to control because of this stock. This stock is very, very flexible. It's not rigid. It doesn't give you any real purchase. It has almost no point of contact back here. So if you're going to be running a bag, there's no support there. And it's just wobbly. So I definitely think this is the weakest point of this rifle. When you add that with the higher recoil of the 308, you definitely see that you can't stay on target. You can't get comfortable behind it. And you're not able to make the quality of shot you'd be able to make with a better interface back here. The second massive hindrance, awful trigger. The trigger is gritty, it's gross, it's heavy, it's not consistent. I did a multiple test. I think it was 10 pulls on it. It averaged 6 pounds, but it went all the way from 4.9 up to 6 pounds and 5 ounces or something like that. So it was all over. I definitely don't love that. Of course, that is easily swappable, right? So I can easily fix that. I don't like that it doesn't have ambidextrous safeties. We can fix that. Another one of the cons is this thing's heavy. And when it's heavy, the recoil is worse. You would think it would help mitigate it, but it's not. I'll put a picture in here. I shot match with it, like a rifle match with it, to see if I could do it with an EOTech and the suppressor. And I'll put the video up here, or at least the pictures of my shoulders were just wrecked, like bruised, and I didn't shoot that much. So I'm pretty disappointed in that. And I get it, it's a 308. It probably sound whiny, but it is what it is. Kind of want to, like, now that I talked about the pros and cons, kind of talk about who I think this rifle's for. I really don't know. That's the problem. It's not for somebody who wants to get into crazy long range shooting, as we'll talk about in a little bit, but it's also so heavy that it's not for somebody who wants to carry it around while they're hunting. Like, I love the performance of the 308. Like, it does great for that kind of application. But it's a very, very, very specific use case for this rifle. So think about that before getting into this market. It's heavy, it's bulky, it's expensive to shoot, and it's like it does everything okay, but nothing, excels at nothing. I guess is kind of how I'm looking at it. So I would say that this rifle is for somebody who wants something that really looks cool and does okay at the range. I'm not knocking on it. I had zero failures. I had zero issues with malfunctions or anything like that. It ran great. Gas system was adjustable. I love all that. Suppressor mount, all that's great. For $1,500, you're getting a lot of gun, but not a focus-driven gun, if that makes sense. So it doesn't shine in any one of these categories, but it can hang out in all of them. I'm going to show you guys our groups at 100 yards. I did it with a suppressor and with the suppressor removed, again with 168 grain bullets. Yeah, they're not getting dirty this time. In the mag?
Yeah.
It's not getting dirty.
It's not a bad group going on either.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to, yeah, you should shoot 10 for.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. I really truthfully think with the suppressor and a gassed right, it was like a 2.5 inch group at 100. So that's not great, but it's not bad for a battle rifle, I guess you would call this. So it's one of those things where I wasn't crazy impressed, but then we did the paper test and I took it out to 540 yards, and on a 10 round magazine, I was able to hit probably 5 of those 10 on a 2/3 IPSC target, and the first 3 were spot on. I mean, all 3 of them grouped in the same spot, a little low, and I think that's interesting because so it does show that it is capable. See, like I was telling you guys, I don't really know where I stand on this gun because I don't know where it fits. I'm used to shooting bolt guns that can shoot, tiny, tiny groups and perform all the way out to 1,000 yards, no problem. So I was a little bit underwhelmed when it came to this. But at the same time, if you hadn't gotten to that world, or you don't have a 500 yard range or a 1,000 yard range, this rifle will be fine for you. So I hate to muddy the water more, and it's a really hard thing to go one way or the other. But in my personal opinion, kind of circling back to what I buy it now, again, knowing what I know, for $1,500, you can get a lot of rifle. I don't think you can get all these features because there's a lot of cool ones. And I think there is room for improvement. We could do load development. We could change the trigger. We could change the stock. But out of the box, I think you might be better off looking at maybe like the SIG Tread, I believe it is. It's kind of in the same ballpark, and it's proven to like a 1-inch gun at 100. So you'll have more success with that. But I do love, again, I hate to say it, I'm a Palmetto State Armory fanboy. You get these really cool guns at really good prices, and they're average or above average, which is good. And I'm sure somebody's going to post in the comments they shot a 1-inch group at 100, and I hope that's the case. But I really think for the money, you might be better off either A, building one, or buying one of these like the SIG Tread or something along the lines of that if you're wanting to go further distance. If you want the cool monolithic upper, the SCAR look, obviously this is not a SCAR, but it's as close as I'm ever going to get because my wife's never going to let me drop that kind of money on a SCAR. I get it. I understand why people want this. I understand why it's something that sells, and I'm not going to like get rid of this one. I like it for what it is, but I'm going to be changing out the stock. I'm probably going to be changing out the trigger, and I might probably go back over to a LVPO style setup with this one so I can run it maybe for pig hunting that I don't really do. I don't know. I don't really know what my final use case is for it yet, and I guess that's probably part of my problem. But I wanted to get out there and show you guys that we did shoot it. I'm going to have all the video for you. I got it all dialed in for you. I wanted people to understand that this rifle is unique in the fact that it kind of fits a bunch of groups, but doesn't